What it do? To all my beautifuls, handsomes, and lovelies, you are currently tuned in to your Queen Talk Radio host, Miss Amber Nicole, and we are here to bust open Season 2, Episode 3 of the True Speak segment. Now, today we're going to be discussing one of my favorite topics in this season, which is self-love. But before we dive into things, I just want to share this exciting update with y'all. So if you haven't heard the news, we are definitely hosting a vacation package giveaway this season, and we have partnered with a few different travel agents to make it all possible. So we do want you to enter for your chance to win on the Queen Talk Radio website today. And you can also subscribe to stay in the loop for all of our upcoming contests and giveaways. And as I stated previously, that is one of my favorite expressions of self-love, and I'm definitely overdue for a vacation. So whoever wins this thing, think of me. So on another note, let's dive right into today's episode. Now, for those of you who are, who don't know and who may be unaware, I'm actually working on my third book that I am going to be releasing this season. It is a continuation of the Purpose series, and it's titled Purpose and Self-Love. What's interesting about this project is that I had to pause production on it about 2 years ago. So God gave me the vision and the blueprint for the book, but then he paused progress on it. And I remember wondering why completing this book was becoming such a task, why it wasn't as much of a priority for me in the last season. And then what happened was he showed me that he kind of had to pause production so that I could gain the necessary experience and solid understanding of the subject before I could continue to write on it and really begin to cover it. So, have I mastered self-love yet? Absolutely not. But I am very proud to say that I have much more of a solid and concrete understanding and source of direction when it comes to the topic. Now it's just all about application, applying what you've learned in a prior season to better yourself and those around you in your current and future seasons. So here's a fact. As an adult, you get to have a say in how you want to be treated and how you desire to be loved. The best way to show someone how to love you is to lead by example. People only value you as much as you've proven to value yourself, right? What's that value that you put on yourself? And how you view yourself is oftentimes an outward expression. That's why the most common example of self-love is doing little things that can physically be seen, but most importantly, it has a personal positive effect on you as an individual. For example, going to the gym or taking the initiative to eat healthier could be an outward expression, something that could be seen by others, but more importantly, felt by you. So ladies, doing your nails or your hair is like a basic go-to for us, right? When it comes to physical attributions of self-love. Taking a warm bubble bath and just choosing to intentionally relax. Hell, taking the time to put lotion on when you get out the shower. These are the little things that don't really take much effort, but it's so easy to neglect self when our priorities are taking care of everything and everyone else around us, and that's only human. So what's interesting is that all acts of self-love are not necessarily physically done. And that's interesting to note because mental health and care is another major form of self-love. Sometimes we just need to set some time aside to focus on our mental space and analyze ways to improve our overall being. As namaste as this may sound, meditation is a really big one. Just resetting your mental as a whole, taking the time to yourself, for yourself, by yourself. And I really love using that phrase because it's so true. Prioritizing yourself and loving on yourself is not anything to be frowned upon. Let's break that stigma right now. It's not selfish to engage in self-love. Matter of fact, if you are presenting the best version of yourself, then you're better equipped to improve someone else's overall state. So in other words, if you ain't no good, how can you be any good for someone else? If you ain't no good for yourself or to yourself, And I think when discussing self-love, it's just so mandatory to mention setting boundaries. You know, this is a really big one. As we stated in season 2, episode 1, everyone does not have the ability to love you in the manner that you need or even deserve to be loved, for that matter. And if you're exercising your right to practice and engage in self-love, then it is absolutely mandatory that you not only set that bar for how you should be treated, but more importantly, you draw the line when you're not receiving what you're needing. You know, if you value yourself, then you'll stand on business when you recognize that you're being undervalued. And, with that being said, ending certain relationships, jobs, alternate partnerships, that can definitely be a form of self-love. You know, stand on business when it comes to you, boo. If you don't, then absolutely no one else will. And I think that's why self-love is a journey, right? So through different stages of your life, you'll begin to embrace different examples of self-love as they are needed, right? I think it's a learning experience. I also really just want to take a very brief moment before we begin to wrap things up to focus on verbal affirmations. What are you telling yourself about yourself? We are oftentimes our worst critics. Like, we literally have the ability to be harder on ourselves than our own enemies. The language you use about yourself transpires into who you are and who you're becoming. One example of self-love is to intentionally, positively lift yourself in a situation where you would normally be more critical. You know, give yourself grace. You do have the ability to speak positivity into your image, your finances, your mental state, your physical state, and everything that makes you who you are. You know, pat yourself on the back sometimes. The opposite of self-love is self-hate, and the world, social media, the culture does an amazing job of spreading that message of self-hate. So it's your obligation, aka you owe it to yourself, to be encouraging and positive in a world that oftentimes spreads the opposite message. So I would just say, remind yourself that you are still growing and excelling. You're learning. You're allowed to make mistakes, but most importantly, you're obligated to elevate beyond your mistakes, And I definitely want to leave that with you guys this episode. I also invite y'all to get active on this topic and engage on our website with the polls. How do you demonstrate self-love towards yourself? Let us know on the Queen Talk Radio website. And remember to be kind to yourself this week. You deserve it. As you know, this is only the beginning of a necessary conversation that you are more than welcome to finish. Again, this is Amber Nicole of The Truth Speaks on Queen Talk Radio. And don't forget, you'll never know how far you can reach until you make the conscious decision to stretch and grow. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed weekend. And whatever you do, keep progressing forward. I love y'all to life.